So we're talking about female coach like opportunities and challenges that they currently have, or just are experiencing overall.
Yeah, I would say like when I first started in this coaching world, and even in my position as high performance director at Tennis BC or working with Tennis BC, and even now when I look to explore other opportunities, I'm like, you look at job applications, you're like, I don't fully meet all the requirements 100%, so I don't apply. Right? And that's a position most women are in. They're like, I don't meet everything they're asking, so I don't apply. But what we need to get to a place that is, okay, we know that women are going to be provided with these opportunities, whether we meet the qualifications or not, because right now with the gender and equity and I don't know what that's called, but like where we have to be in more equal opportunities for women in sport at every level. I think it's important for women to take those. Whether you feel confident that you're going to be able to, like, I meet everything that they're asking me, it's like you got to dive in. You got to take that job, I think, and just make sure that you surround yourself by people, it might be within an organization or not, but who want to see you succeed. Create a network or people that can support you, that you can go to, male or female, that can help you with some of the challenges you can foresee coming up, because that's the only way we're going to be successful. I think over the last bunch of years, women have been given jobs. And women
so also earn them, I think, in a lot of ways. Like, it's not necessarily
for sure 100%,
50-50, but yeah, definitely
for sure. Like women earn some of these jobs, and then some we are given, and I think it works both ways. I think we have to acknowledge that and be okay with that. I know personally I wasn't okay. I'm like, I'm not going to take a job if I didn't feel like I deserved it. I don't want to hand out just because I'm a female. I had that mindset probably up until like 2 years ago, where now I'm like, whatever. If I can use being a female to my advantage, man, at so many different levels in sport, it has been a disadvantage for me. So if it's going to open a couple of doors right now because I'm a woman in sport, I'm going to take it, and I'm going to show you I can succeed at it. You know, and it has taken a mindset, because I've been someone, and I think a lot of women are like, you know, I can do this alone, I'm going to go at it. Like, and where men, I think, are a little bit different than that. Okay. I'm not a man, so I don't know, but like the ones that they're not in it, we're in it in a different way. But like for someone who's always, you know, as a female in tennis, from my very first coaching course, I was the only female with a bunch, like 20 guys. Club Pro 1, same thing, everything. Like my coach 2, coach 3, we had like 3 or 4. We had a little bit more. Then, you know, we had MF, a female course facilitator. It was great. I'm like, hey, I see another woman. Like, high five, how are you? You know, it's good, but like I'm always in these situations where like, okay, I gotta prove. Like, you walk into a room, I'm constantly having to prove I belong in that room. You know, I remember my first instructor course, like, I felt like no one was really gonna listen to the input I was giving until I played and showed, oh, I can play as good or better than you. Then like, oh, now I get a bit of respect. Well, feel in all the environments I've been, men walk in them and they're like they're given, you're given it until you do something to take that credibility away. Where we have to, like, I've constantly had to be like climbing or fighting to show, like, no, I belong here. I deserve this opportunity, and so it does wear on you, because like in a way everything feels a bit of a fight and a bit of a battle. Which isn't always easy.
How do you deal with that when you are going for a job application as a female and maybe feeling a little bit like the underdog, knowing that you're competing against mainly men who are applying in a tennis world where, you know, historically it's been a male-driven sport as far as coaching goes, particularly in Canada?
I would say, like, for anybody who's going through that, it's reach out to other female coaches who've been in positions that you're looking to get into, and just see how they managed it. I haven't really had a ton of personal experience with that myself. Like, I've never really had to apply for a job to get to where I'm at right now. In a way, I feel very fortunate with that. But that's what I'm looking ahead, and what do I want to do next? I'm like, okay, once I figured out or have an idea, like now I'm in a position where, hey, you have the job that I might want. So I'm going to reach out and connect with you and say, hey, how did you get here? What are some key skills that you have that have made it so that you can be successful in the position that you're in?
Right.
And see whether that's something I want to be good at and feel like, oh yeah, like this is really something I want to do. Because sometimes we have this idea, like, oh, I really want this job. And then you get it and you're like, it's not really what I thought it was going to be. Right. And then it's like, okay, but if we did a little bit of work beforehand or looked for opportunities to maybe, reach out and see if you can shadow somebody doing that job that you might want to be doing.
Right.
Like,
and you as a female leader in your role right now, would you welcome someone younger
100%.
contacting you?
100%.
Yeah, right. And I think a lot of people, don't have that confidence of reaching out and feeling that rejection of someone going, no, I don't have time for you, maybe.
Yeah.
But whereas, if you speak to you or many other leaders in the country, you would probably get that same response as I just got from you.
Yeah.
That you'd be welcoming that.
And every female, and I've been, like I said, I've been very fortunate to have strong women kind of guide me over the last. I've been in the sport admin coaching world for maybe 20 years, and I've had so many women along the way. But also currently I am, through one of my mentors, Sev, who's part of a CAC high performance coach mentorship program. She's a mentor herself. She connected me with another female mentor that was that's in the same program as her. Okay. And through that I got connected to another female coach who's not in tennis but in basketball. And so through meeting other women in coaching, doesn't have to be tennis, you get so much out of it.
Like a network of people that you can connect with and learn from, but also potentially share your experiences with.
100%. And what I've realized is through meeting women from other sports, our experiences are so much the same. Like the sport is just a vehicle of how we're experiencing them, but we experience some of the same challenges. And one of the other parts that I love outside of just connecting with really cool women who love sport, is just how they problem solve. Like, so me being in tennis, an individual sport, I have to deal with different challenges than say a friend who's in basketball dealing with a team and multiple teams and multiple people. But how she problem solves, I'm like, what can I take from how you did that and maybe like do it in my sport and then
apply it to what my situation is currently.
Yeah, and so it gets me to think outside of the box. And for me, through everything I've been in, like I was part of the CAC cause high performance female mentorship program, I think 5 to 7 years ago. And I did the high performance coach and technical leadership program at UBC. Yes. Through those connections and being connected to people in other sports, that's where I've grown the most. I feel like I've really had to look at not just from problem solving piece, but even like it's helped me from how they periodize the technical tactical training, gold medal profiling in sport, if like you're doing the performance route, like what are some best practices that other sports are doing that maybe in tennis we're not, and how can I bring them into my job? How can I bring them on court with me when I'm coaching an 8-year-old or a 30-year-old, and that's helped me grow in my skills, because now I'm like, and it makes me feel a bit alive. Right. Like so super alive. Just a bit. Just a bit.
And often like tennis is such a lonely sport, and we feel like we're the only ones experiencing something. And a coach that's out on the court dealing with certain situations and the clients and younger students or older students, no matter the level of play, often we feel like this challenge I'm going through, or the communication side, or scheduling, or organizing myself, or just lesson development and so forth. We feel like we're often the ones that are feeling that and alone. But if you connect to other sports and other coaches, whether it be within tennis or other sports, you can see that actually no, these things are very common. Across the board.
one of my coolest experiences happened early March. I sat in on a round table. It was a female Grow the Game round table that my
Grow
friend.
the Game.
It's called Grow the Game round table. It was initiated for female coaches in basketball.
Okay.
It was started for basketball.
Yes.
And I was part of it, and this was one of their smaller calls, and I was on a Zoom call with 20 women.
20 women.
And
they're all in basketball, and you were all in tennis, or was it a mix?
One was like soccer, and mainly basketball, and it was from young, like some were like 18, 19, you know, some retired national team coaches. We're all on this, and then I texted my friend who set it up before. After I'm like, man, I've never been in a room, virtual room or real room with 20 female coaches before. Like this was, and like you said, we're an individual sport. And if you know me, I just want to be part of a team. Like I don't care what team, but put me in. I want to be part of a team. Right. So it was just like, I'm like, man, 20 women, and I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah. And they all understand me probably a lot better than my closest friends.
Because we're the same kind of crazy, you know? So it's like, that was really cool. So for me to like experiencing that, I'm like, I need to create that for tennis, because just and it wasn't anything technical, tactile that we talked about. We were just sharing what we were doing, and just an organic conversation of like, hey, what are you up to? What is this? What do you do? Yes. I'm like, hey, you do that? Oh, that's pretty cool. How can I get you? Right. I'm doing this. Maybe we can do this together, and you can elevate what I'm doing, because it's a different voice, different experience, and that my kids and I can learn a lot from what you're doing. Yes. And that was one of the first times, and maybe there's some comfort in it that it's not tennis, not all tennis people, because sometimes because female and from my experiences, there's so few of us and there were limited opportunities for us to get involved, that it didn't feel like we were truly working together. There's always like, yes, I really want you to succeed, but I really want to succeed too. And so we're fighting, we're subconsciously fighting for the same opportunity. So then like, it's a bit more, it's not as selfless giving.
Sorry to interrupt you. Why do you think that's in tennis much more so than, let's say, in basketball, like the round table you mentioned?
Well, I don't know that individual sports don't experience the same thing. Okay. So I would say like every other sport doesn't experience. So I would, if it was just a round table basketball, and they were like high performance coaches, then they might be fighting for the same opportunities. Okay. But with tennis, because with it being an individual sport, I think just seeing that there were 20 women from BC on this call, it wasn't even like across the country.
It was just BC?
It was just BC.
Wow.
So seeing 20 women from BC, like, there's more of them, and they're all doing different things, and some are in community, some in that, where with us, there's I don't know the numbers, but like I don't know. I know like 5 high performance female coaches in the country, and so if there's 2 spots, and you know, like I really like, I'm really happy for you. Great, you know.
I know exactly, but you can sense that more, you know, higher increased competition is also gonna put a challenge to that relationship.
It's like, but now that I feel matured through the system a little bit, and sitting where I sit, I'm like, how can I help whoever female coach like achieve whatever she wants to achieve in the sport? Like that would be like my biggest win, you know, because in my job that I'm currently in, I sit and was like, how can I create opportunities for kids to be the best they possibly can be within my role? Right. And now it's flipping it, like how can we create those opportunities for women? How can I create an opportunity? How can I help a young female coach learn from everything that I've gone through, so she doesn't have to go through necessarily the same kind of hurdles that I've had to go through? And I would say like Sev has been a huge part of why I'm still in my sport.
And that's Severin Tambrero from Quebec.
Yes.
And you know, I mean, she was a mentor of mine when I was younger, when I was going through the wheelchair tennis courses and the you know, coaching opportunities, and you know, there was always that, you know, friendship advice, and really someone that could understand some of your challenges and give you that sort of opinion of, you know, here are some things that I've dealt with
Yeah.
Okay.
And I always tell her, like, at least once a week, I'm like, man, I don't know where I'd be if it wasn't for you, because
Right.
like we're constantly in my role, like there's so many challenges, and you know me, and I just want to make things better. I just want to make the system better, and I don't really care to play the political game.
Right, of course.
So then it's like, how do you stay in it when when sometimes you feel like you can't be so true to your values?
Right.
And so it's like, that's why coaching, to me, like when I'm on court, it's, man, it's amazing. I'm like, I'm in front of these people, and I'm just here.
It's
like,
pure. It's very pure. They
good or
love
bad,
to be there, and you love being there.
Yeah, and it's like, and just being able to help someone else, help someone who loves to play the game that I love. I'm like, it's that's all it is. There's nothing attached to that. It's just that.